And we're going to finish up the first part of the first book of Notre-Dame de Paris. Again, with the French pronunciations, and basically we're still figuring the book out. I'm looking at footnotes sometimes and not looking at them at other times, but we're in a scene where people of all societies are in one place, kind of getting to yell insults at one another. And the story continues. The whole band took up the pun in thunderous voice, clapping their hands furiously. You're going to look for lodgings in the Rue Thibaudot, aren't you, Rector? Your game's the devil's game. Then it was the turn of the other dignitaries. Down with the Beatles! Down with the Macers! I say, Robin Poussapane. Who's that one there? That's Gilbert de Sully. Gilbertus de Socio, the Chancellor of the College of Aton. And here's my shoe. You're better placed than I am to throw it in his face. Saturnalius mittimus essenusis. And basically that says, we send you herewith Saturnalian nuts. Down with the 6 theologians in their white surplices. Are those the theologians? I thought they were the 6 white geese Saint Genevieve gave to the town for the fief of Rugni. Down with the doctors! Down with the cardinal disputations! And quotabilitans! Here's my cap for you, Chancellor of the Saint Genevieve. You did the dirty on me. It's a fact. He gave my place in the Normandy nation to the young Ascanio Falzaspada, who comes to this province of Borges because he's Italian. That's unfair, said all the students. Down with the Chancellor, Saint Genevieve. Hi there, Matre Joachim de Ladahors. Hi there, Louis Dahil. Hi there, Lambert Horchement. I hope the devil chokes the proctor of the German nation. And the chaplains of the Sainte-Chapelle, with their grey amices. Come, Tunises, Greases. Say, dupelibus, Greece, Pharosis. You, masters of arts, all the beautiful black copes and all the beautiful red copes. They make a fine tale for the rector. It's like the Doge of Venice going to his nuptials with the sea. I say, Jahan, the canons of Saint Genevieve. To hell with the canonry. Abbe Claude Cohort, Dr. Claude Cohort, are you looking for Marie de Giffard? She's in the Rue de Glatigny, making the king of Ribald's bed. He pays 4 deniers, 4 deniers. Ah, taton, bonbon. Basically, that's a fart joke. Do you want her to pay you face to face? Friends, Maitre Simon Saint-Grand, the elector of Picardy, with his wife riding peon. Post equitem sedet ata cura. Behind the horseman sits black care. Bravo! Maitre Simon! Good morning, Elector, sir. Good morning, Madam Elector. How lucky they are to be able to see it all, sighed Jonas de Molendino, still perched in the foliage of his capital. Meanwhile, the sworn bookseller of the university, Maitre André Musonnier, leant toward the ear of the master furrier of the king's wardrobe, Maitre Giles Lecornu. I tell you, monsieur, it's the end of the world. Never have we known such behavior from the students. It's all these accursed new inventions that are ruining everything. Artillery, serpentines, bombards, and especially printing, that other plague from Germany. No more manuscripts, no more books. Printing is killing the bookshop. The end of the world's at hand. As I can tell from the way velvet is coming in, said the master furrier. Just then it struck 12. Ah! Said the whole crowd as one. The students fell silent. There was a great shifting about, a great movement of heads and feet, a great detonation everywhere of coughs and nose-blowing. Each one settled himself, took up his position, drew himself upright, got into a group. Then there was a great silence. Every neck stayed craned, every mouth agape, every eye trained on the marble slab. No one appeared on it. The bailiff's 4 sergeants stood still. The bailiff's 4 sergeants still stood there, stiff and motionless, like 4 painted statues, all eyes turned toward the platform reserved for the Flemish envoys. The doors stayed closed and the platform empty. The crowd had been waiting ever since early morning for 3 things: 12 o'clock, the Flemish embassy, and the mystery play. Only 12 o'clock had arrived on time. It was too much to bear. They waited 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes, a quarter of an hour. No one came. The platform remained deserted, the stage mute, but impatience had given way to anger. Irritation had been voiced, if only in an undertone as yet. The mystery, was the subdued murmur. Heads were in a ferment, a storm. Still no more than a growling floated on the surface of the crowd. It was Jehan of the windmill who drew the first spark from it. "The mystery, and to hell with the Flemings!" he shouted at the top of his voice, writhing like a serpent around his capital. The crowd clapped its hands. "The mystery," it took up, "and Flanders can go to the devil." "It's the mystery right away," the student continued. "Or my idea is, we hang the palace bailiff, and have that as a comedy and a morality." "Well said," cried the populace. "And let's launch the execution with his sergeants." Loud cheers followed. The 4 poor wretches looked at one another and started to turn pale. The crowd began to move toward them, and they could see the fragile wooden balustrade that divided them, already giving and bulging inward against the pressure. It was a tense moment. "String them up!" came the shout from either side. At that instant, the tapestry over the dressing room, which we have described above, was raised, to allow through a person, the mere sight of whom suddenly halted the crowd as if by magic, transformed its anger into curiosity. "Silence! Silence!" This person, extremely ill at ease and trembling in every limb, came forward to the edge of the marble slab with a great many bows, which, as he got nearer, looked more and more like genuflections. Meanwhile, calm had slowly been restored. All that remained was the faint buzz which the silence of the crowd always gives off. "Messieurs and mademoiselles," he said, "we are to have the honor of declaiming and performing before His Eminence, Monsieur the Cardinal, a very fine morality play entitled The Right Judgment of the Virgin Mary. I shall play Jupiter. At this moment His Eminence is accompanying the most honorable embassy, Monsieur the Duke of Austria, which has been delayed at present time at the port Baudet, listening to the address from the rector of the university. As soon as the most eminent cardinal arrives, we shall begin." It is certain that, short of the intervention of Jupiter, nothing could have saved the palace bailiff's 4 luckless sergeants. If we had been fortunate enough to have invented this very true story, and not to be held responsible for it by Our Lady criticism, it is not against us that the classical precept of nec Deus intercedit, let not a god intervene, could be invoked at this moment. The Lord Jupiter's costume was in any case a very fine one, and had helped not a little to pacify the crowd by attracting its individual attention. Jupiter was clad in brigantine covered in black velvet with gilt studs, and a bicoquette decorated with buttons of silver, gilt, and but for the rouge and the huge beard which covered one half of his face, but for the roll of gilt pasteboard, much bespangled and bristling all over with strips of tinsel, which he carried in his hand, and which knowledgeable eyes easily recognized to be his thunderbolt, but for the flesh-colored feet tied with ribbons like a Greek's, he might well have borne comparison, for the austerity of his costume, with one of the Duke of Berry-Breton's archers. And that is the end of the first section.